Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you guys are. Guys, Jake Paul beat Anderson Silva. I should say an ancient Anderson Silva. What I would say is this, that a lot of people criticize Jake Paul. You know what? No, his stuff about him calling out Canelo, I mean, that's absurd and ludicrous to say the least. I mean, Canelo would absolutely batter, Jake Paul. I mean, that's laughable. But in terms of Jake Paul as a fighter, in terms of Jake Paul, you know what? We have to start now as boxing fans, start taking that guy seriously because, Jake Paul, although people say he's a clown, he's rubbish, um, I think he's improving. I think he's really improving, and I think he is getting better. And I think eventually, I'm not saying he's going to go on to become a world champion, but I think he's going to become a respectable fighter if he keeps putting in this work. Now, the thing is with Jake, if he was to lose a fight and get embarrassed and end up losing, we don't know how he would react. We don't know how he would react because he doesn't really need boxing. It's not like he's a fighter where that's how he earns his money. I mean, he's a YouTuber, he's a content creator, so he can make a lot of money from that. So he doesn't need to box. So if he was to take a humiliating defeat and lose a fight, how would he react to that? Because a fighter would have to lick his wounds and get back in the gym and work hard. When Jake Paul sees some adversity in the boxing, is he going to do a runner? Because he's thinking that, you know what, I don't need this. I can go back into doing my YouTube stuff. Or is he going to say, you know what, I'm going to bite down on the gum shield and I'm actually going to look to improve my weaknesses? Now, the performance was okay. I mean, he beat Anderson Silva, dropped him. But what we want to see now from Jake Paul, rather than fighting these, like, people, I know, what's it called? Who was it at the end? The MMA guy that interviewed him, I forgot his name. Ariel Hawani was interviewing and saying, "Oh, you just beat a UFC legend." But it's like saying that, a guy, a badminton legend, playing a tennis player, playing a rookie tennis player, and saying, "Well, you just beat a rookie." You just beat a badminton legend on a tennis court. I mean, yeah, he beat a legend in Anderson Silva in the UFC, but he's not a boxer. Although, you know what, Anderson Silva has got some great skills. He's got some great stand-up skills, and he can box. He's not a boxer. He's not a legitimate boxer. Now, at this point, people want to see Jake Paul in with a boxer, but the problem I have is with someone like Tommy Fury, for example. I don't really think like people. I'll give Jake Paul credit because I don't think Tommy Fury, from what I've seen so far, is any better than Anderson Silva. So people, although they want him to fight a real boxer, what's a real boxer? I mean, is Tommy Fury really a really real boxer? I mean, he's a boxer because his brother's an elite champion. I mean, but that doesn't mean Tommy Fury's great, does it? So what makes Tommy Fury anything better than Anderson Silva? We don't know because, Tommy Fury hasn't really beaten anybody. He hasn't really fought anybody, and he hasn't looked that impressive when we have seen him fight. So I think that would be a breakthrough fight because of the fact that Fury's got his brother's name. People would consider that a good win if he was to beat Tommy Fury. Although like I said, I have my doubts about how good Tommy Fury actually is. But the way the public and people will view it is that Tommy Fury is a legitimate fighter, legitimate guy, and maybe people would give Jake credit if he beats Tommy Fury. I don't know who Jake is going to fight, to be honest with you. Who can he fight? Who can he fight next? Because he's calling out Nate Diaz, then at the same time he's calling out Canelo Alvarez. Now, would he get in the ring with Canelo Alvarez for a payday? Just say, not now, but even if he was, because no matter when Jake gets in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, he's going to get destroyed, right? Canelo will absolutely destroy him. So the point I'm making is he's never going to get good enough to fight Canelo Alvarez. So is he going to go in there and risk getting beat up and humiliated against Canelo Alvarez just for a payday? I'm not so sure because there's many ways Jake can make money outside of boxing. So would he want to go in there against Canelo and get beat up and humiliated? I'm not sure he would. That's why I think the Canelo call out is all bluff. And at the same time, he's calling out Nate Diaz. Like, why are you calling out Nate Diaz and then calling out Canelo Alvarez? It's obviously clearly a bluff. The Canelo stuff is clearly a bluff. But For me personally, I think the Nate Diaz fight would be another gimmicky fight. I think he'd beat Nate Diaz. I think Jake Paul has got past that point where where I feel he's really improved. He's really improved, and I think he would beat these guys. I think he would beat your Nate Diaz's and all these UFC fighters. I think he's improved to the point where he'll beat these guys. I want to see him tested against a real fighter. I want to see him tested against someone that's really good, not against I mean a rookie, not against a guy that that's not really a boxer. You know, we need to see Jake Paul now step in there with some, maybe a guy 5-0, 6-0. You know, but again, like I said, there's too much to risk. The reason what Jake is doing, Jake is trying to make money with guys that are well known and that aren't really high level boxers, because Jake's not really looking to have a proper career. Because if he was, then why, like, if you look at all the guys that he's trying to fight, they all have some kind of name. Nate Diaz has a name, Tommy Fury has a name. He's not looking to fight anybody that's unknown. Like all of the guys, like Anderson Silva, another UFC legend. I mean, he's not looking, even Hasim Rahman had his father's name. You know, so that's why that was also a selling fight. And if you look at every guy that Jake Paul, it's well calculated. It's from a business point of view. He's not fighting a nobody. He's not fighting somebody that nobody's heard of. He's fighting guys that people know about. So, like I said, even Hasim Rahman was, or what's his name, Rahman's son, Hasim Rahman's son. He's also a known fighter because his dad was a world champion, you know. So again, he's very very well calculated in his moves, because he knows that from a business point of view, he's looking for fights that are not that risky. That obviously bring a risk, but also paying him a lot of money because of the guys that he's fighting. And this is why I'm saying that I think Jake is very well calculated in who he's picking to fight. And even Tommy Fury, for me, would be a good fight for him next, because I think he can beat Tommy Fury. And to be honest, I think a lot of people would pick Jake to beat Tommy Fury at this point. Because, you know, firstly, Jake's been putting in a lot more work. And Jake, at the minute, looks like he's probably the better boxer. This might sound crazy, but if you look at them two, I mean, I don't think there's much of a difference. I think that's a 50-50 fight, with probably you making Jake a slight favorite in that one. You know, because Tommy Fury at this point hasn't really shown that he's an elite fighter or he's a top fighter. I mean, he's kind of, as Paulie Malignaggi pointed out, he's really a reality star that is boxing. He goes separate the name from it. He's just a reality star that's boxing. He's not impressive. So there's a good chance Jake beats Tommy Fury. And I kind of see it the same way. I mean, I think people are getting carried away with the Fury name. Take the Fury name away from it. Just because your brother's great, don't mean you're going to be great. How many fighters have we seen that their brothers aren't as good as what their older brother turns out to be, or their dad having their son fighting doesn't mean the son is going to turn out like the dad. You know, that's just not how it works. You have your own skill set. You have your own physical ability. I mean, and that's what it comes down to. And I don't think Tommy Fury's Tyson Fury, you know, and that's just what it is. The fact that Tyson Fury's great doesn't make, you know, look at Tyson Fury, how many brothers he's got. I mean, how many of his brothers or how many others of his family or even his dad used to box? How many of them went on to have successful? I mean, John Fury didn't, he even says it himself. He didn't have a successful career in boxing. He was a journeyman. He said it himself. So the point I'm trying to make is that it's not like just because your Tyson Fury turned out to be great doesn't mean that their brothers and their sons and, you know, and the father is going to, I mean, it's not. Tyson Fury is just a one-off. Tyson Fury is just great. That doesn't mean that his brothers or his, his half brother or whatever is going to turn out to be great as well. That's not how things work. You have your own individual skill set. You have your own ability, talent. And Tyson Fury is unique. He's a one-off. Tommy's not that. So I personally think that Jake Paul has a very good chance, and I think that should be the fight, because Jake Paul, like I said, he's very well calculated. And the reason why he was looking to fight Tommy Fury, because I think he knew that would be a big payday and it's a fight that he can win. Obviously it comes with a risk, because it's not like Jake Paul is a solidified great fighter himself. But it comes with a risk, it's a calculated risk. It's a risk where he's going to get paid a lot of money and there's a good chance he can win as well. Whereas if he fights somebody that's 10-0, 11-0, that's up and coming, that's hungry, is probably going to get beat because Jake Paul hasn't got the skills to beat, proper boxers. So, this is an opportunity for him to fight somebody a bit like himself, that's a bit of a novice, and yeah, I think that's what Jake Paul's probably going to do. But I want to know your opinion. Let me know what you thought about Jake Paul's fight with Anderson Silva. What do you make of him calling out Canelo? Who do you think he should fight next? Leave your thoughts, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys. Take care.